Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Poor Boy's Little Homestead. If this is your first time here, thanks for dropping in. Feel free to drop by anytime you feel, my friend. Today, guys, it's a good old rainy day here, and I ain't got much I can do. So I'm up here. I hatched out me some baby quails, and I'm going to start trying to raise some more baby quails. And I need some little feeders. Well, I ain't much on going and buying stuff when I can make something. So I got me some half-gallon, that old half-gallon Fairlife milk. I got plenty of these because that's what my grandson, he drinks. I got a bunch of these little old snuff buckets, these snuff cans. That's what I buy my Longhorn tobacco in. That's what I dip. Hey, let me tell y'all a story about this can. A few months ago, my wife come in and she said, "Eddie, you dipping too much. You need at least one can or to last you all week." Well, guys, she was referring to one of these cans. But I didn't take it like that. She just said one can or to last you all week. I said, "All right, baby, I think I can do that." I went to the store that afternoon, and when I come back, I had one of these cans. I said, "I can make a can last me all week." I'm going to take these jugs, some of these tobacco cans. Here's an M&M container. I think that's going to make a good one. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to make up a couple of more quail feeders. Now, I know some of you saying, "Well, man, you can buy a little quail feeder for $2.50, $3. Well, you can. But guys, they waste feed. These here I make, and I'll try to attach a video above where I've made some before. You cut a hole in them, and the quail has to stick their head in there. And when they stick their head in there and eat, then they ain't just wasting food, scratching it out and flipping it out with their beak and stuff. This feed's done got expensive, so you don't want them wasting. And it's a rainy day, and what better thing else I got to do? I got my hot glue gun sitting here heating up. I got a torch in case I want to heat some of this plastic, make it bend a certain way. I got a drill with a 1 1/4 inch hole bit on it. I got a jigsaw and I got a knife. Now, I don't know if I use that jigsaw or not. Most of this I can cut with a knife. But I was sitting here looking at what I think I'm going to do on this first one, this M&M jug. I'm going to take this half-gallon milk container, and I'm going to have to cut the top of this M&M jug here to where that'll slide right down in there. And what you want it to do, you want it to stop about 3/4 of an inch or a half inch above the bottom. And the way these jugs is made, they're on a taper. And I'm going to show y'all here in a little bit. When you cut that off, then you can trim you just a little bit more of that off of this jug, and that'll set right down on it for you a cap. That way you can just take the cap off and fill the jug up where you feed. And drill my holes in here. You want to drill your holes up off the bottom a little bit. That way when your feed comes out that half inch down there, they always keep some in the bottom of this container. And they stick their head in there. I'll probably put this size containers, I'll put a hole on one on each side. But let me get to work here. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cut the top of this out so I can slide that right down in this M&M container. Let's see if this is going to cut with this knife. This here's a little harder plastic on this jug. But it's cutting fine. That's what I got the torch there for, in case I want to heat it to make things cut easier. Plus I got a heat gun. A heat gun works better than the torch. I don't know why I brought the torch out today. If I had to heat some, I'm gonna go back in and get the torch. But I cut that a little too big. So what I'm gonna do right here, since I cut that hole, well, I didn't cut it too big. That's close as I could cut it to that ring up there where the cap screwed on. But that's too big of a hole gap to seal up with hot glue. So I think I can take this, and y'all guys, I'm doing this at a spur of the moment. I ain't done one of these before and got this planned out. I'm just gonna do and make something work. Show you can take stuff and make stuff out of it. I'm gonna heat that ring right there, 'cause I need to cut that, and that's thick plastic there where that cap screws on. A lot of people don't like plastic. I love plastic. I love PVC pipe. You can take PVC pipe and a heat gun, and you can make all kinds of stuff out of PVC pipe. Or you can heat it, shape it, bend it, make it flat, anything you want to do. So let's see if this is gonna work. It's gonna work. Now look at there. Ain't one thing wrong with that, guys. I forgot to take the cap off the jug. Won't no feed come out with. Oh, look at me pour water on myself. Now that I know that's gonna work, I'm gonna trim this right here off a little bit where I cut it with that knife, so it'll be good and pretty when I put my hot glue around it. Put that right back on that ring. Squeeze it and get it right back in place. And you want to raise it up, like I said, I'm going to go about 3/8 of an inch off the bottom. And what we're going to do here, we're going to hot glue this. Right around this jug. Now I'm hot gluing it right here on the corners first. I'll tell you what else I'm gonna do, because this is gonna be a pretty good little feeder here. I'm finna get me a little screw, and I'm gonna drill right through there on both sides and screw right into this milk jug. That way when I was fooling with it out there taking the top off, my hot glue won't pull loose. So this is gonna be a good little feeder, guys. Brought my heat gun back out so I can shape this the way I want it for it to fit snug up here at the top. Take me a little screw. Make sure I'm up off the bottom still. Put me a screw right through there. Y'all hear it raining? Rain coming down. I don't like the way that looks. So we're gonna remove that. And now we're gonna heat the top of this and see if we can make it bow in a little better. Now I'm going to cut this top off right here. You want to see how that's tapered. You want to come down there about 1 inch. That's how you got your top. And since it's got that taper on it, it'll kind of snap on there and it just won't flop right off. Now guys, that'll hold. It ain't a half a gallon now. I took off about 1 inch of it, but still that's almost a half a gallon of food. But I gotta raise it up. I done fooled around and let it get too far down on the bottom. It ain't gonna let no food out. Now guys, when you're making stuff like this, you can put as much time into it as you want and make it as pretty as you want. Like right here, I'm just trying to get this to where I can heat that just to make it flatten down a little prettier. But it really don't matter what it looks like. I don't think the quails care what it looks like, as long as it keeps the water out of the feed and they can get in there to eat. And next, I'm gonna heat this just a little bit before I try to drill it. Sometimes it's harder plastic. If you don't heat it when you go to drill it, it'll just bust like glass on you. And I'm gonna come up off the bottom about a good 3/4 of an inch, so they'll have to stick their head over in it. You see that little quail had to stick his head over in there, and he ain't got that much room. He's just gonna stick it in there and eat. He ain't gonna be trying to sling the food out. You take your little fowl, squirrel tail fowl, make sure you ain't got no burrs there that's gonna scrape up on the chick's neck. Now they got an opening on each side. Now, 2 holes is plenty enough for 10 to 15 quails or more, because they ain't all gonna eat at the same time. They learn to take turns. And see how I heated that and made it go right up against there close? That way I can seal around it with that hot glue and it won't leak. If any kind of rain blows in there on it, it won't get my feed wet. Heat gun ain't on right now. I'm just using it to hold the plastic until it cools off to the sheet. Now I'm gonna plug my glue gun back in. I need to get me 2 cords out here. And we're gonna seal right around this. Well, now I gotta let it heat back up, guys. While the heat gun's heating up, you can take any kind of rat tail fowl, round fowl. Go around your holes there, just make sure ain't no sharp edges. It's gonna poke on you or tear you. Grab hold of your quail's neck. Don't want to hurt the little fellas. I think that's pretty good. Now let's see if we can seal up around the top here with the hot glue. Like I said, I put the screws in there because you're going to be getting this in and out, filling it up with feed, and you'll pull your hot glue loose if you don't put the 2 screws in it to hold it. I like doing stuff I want to do at one time. I don't want to be out there feeding it and then it come loose and I have to come back and work on it again. So pretty much all this hot glue is doing is just sealing that little crack, so if rain blows in there it can't go down into my feed. Like I said, guys, I got another video where I made some different styles. You can go check it out. There's one feeder, guys. I'm gonna go get some feed and put in it for y'all so y'all can see what it looks like. Now guys, while I went out there to get my feed to show y'all, I decided to go on and bring a feeder. This is one of the bigger ones I made. It's just made out of a container you can buy at Walmart for like $1, which I stole this one out of my wife's cabinet. And you can see I drilled 3 holes on each side. Or 3 holes on one side and 2 holes on the other. But on them I put a little PVC ring in there, about that long. And that helps that feed when it builds up in the bottom down here. It can't just fall out because it's got a lip sticking over in there from that little PVC ring. And then that's just I think that's a 3.5 or 4-inch PVC pipe. Now, the top off of one of my snuff cans snaps right on top of that PVC pipe. That's a 4-inch pipe. So there's that style I made. Then for one of my other smaller pens, again, this is just a little container that I had in the shop here. You can see I put 3 holes in it, but then I plugged that one off, and they just got 2 ways to stick their heads in there. And again, I used the PVC on it. And this little top part here, the little jug here with the pop top that opens up where you can fill it up with feed here, all that is a Armor All. Them little Armor All like hand wipes that you can pull out and dust your dash of your truck. That's all that is. Already has the pop top on it. Down at the bottom I just cut me some half moon holes in it where the feed will come out. And this one works really good. But they can't waste as much food when they stick their heads in there. So now I'm gonna pour the feed in here and let y'all see how it just free flows down to the bottom. So you would just fill your jug up with feed, and you see it just free flows out, and they have to stick their head over in there to eat. Now I'm gonna try this one without putting the PVC ring in there. Cause see, it's far enough, it ain't gonna overflow enough that it can fill out the edge. That's why I lowered it down to where them there that I learned on them to lower it on down a little closer so it won't let as much feed out until they actually eat it. You fill your jug up, stick your top back on it, set it in your QUAIL pen. So let's see what we can come up with out of these. I got a bunch of these containers and these jugs, like I said, I save them. Guys, you can take these little containers right here. If you dip snuff and save these jokers, because you got a top for them, they handy for all kind of stuff. Let's skin this here milk jug. And what I'm thinking, this one right here, see, I can heat that and it'll slide right down in there. If I can get it to slide down far enough, and I know I can when I heat it, do it the same way and see how quick and simple that is when you already have these jugs. Now on this one, since it's narrower at the bottom and may want to turn over, I'll take a top or something off of a bigger jug, or we'll come up with something here in a minute. But right now, I ain't gonna forget to take the top off this jug. Guys, something else these jugs is good for. You take the top, drill you a whole bunch of little bitty holes, smallest drill bits you can find. Makes a good flyer water. My wife uses this all the time, watering her flyers. I keep spraying that down there on the electrical cords. Y'all gonna see somebody jumping here in a minute. So now we finna heat this top of this snuff can. Get it good and flexible. You can tell when plastics is made out of different stuff, like that milk jug, it don't take much heat at all on it. That clear M&M can heated up real quick, but this black snuff can is made out of a different plastic. It's thicker also. But see guys, you can push that all the way down just like that. I'm gonna put a mark on it and pull it back out. So that was too deep. So I need to put me another mark right here. And I know when I get to that mark, that's where it needs to be at. So again, I'm gonna take 2 of my screws. And it don't matter that these screws is sticking over in the inside of your jug. That's just gonna be where your feed's at. It ain't gonna hinder anything. Actually, I'm gonna put a screw in each side of this one, because that sucks it right up there, where all I gotta do now is just seal around it with my hot glue gun. And I'm probably gonna make 2 or 3 of these, because you see how quick and easy that is and how good. I'm gonna just come up with me something there. The hot glue on the bottom of it. You let my hot glue gun, while it's heating up, I drill my holes down here in the bottom. I'm gonna come up, like I said, about 3/4 of an inch. You want about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom of your hole down there, so your food will fill up but won't fall out. Now see, like this black plastic here, it's like a softer plastic. So when you drill that, it ain't got no little burrs. Now this plastic that was on this clear one right here, it's kind of like a hard plastic, kind of more like a glass, so to speak. And it had burrs on it that was sharp. But this one here, these gonna make some good little feeders right here. Cut my little top right here. And guys, the bottom of these half-gallon jugs here, it works good because it's got that taper. So when you cut your lid, then it sets back down over the top of that taper, and it's kind of, you got to push in on it to kind of make it go on there. It ain't just gonna blow off. The wind ain't gonna blow it off. Now all I gotta do is fill up around there with hot glue. And I am gonna get me something here in just a second. We're gonna put a bottom on this, and so it won't turn over easy. If you ain't got a hot glue gun, you can take some 100% silicone and fill this up to keep water from being able to get down in there. Now guys, if you ain't got a hot glue gun like I was just saying, get you some 100% silicone and run around that. But what I'm gonna do here, since I got plenty of these jugs and plenty of these tobacco containers, every container's got a top. The top's got a little lip on it. I'm gonna hot glue that top right on the bottom of that, and it sticks out past it a little bit. That way it gives it, I really would like to have something a little bit bigger than this, but that would work there to keep it from turning over. I just found another top laying around off of something like a top off of a Cool Whip. Anything like that. Tops off of Cool Whip containers. Anything that's bigger than that bottom, see? Then some of the food does fall out. It'll land on this lid. Plus that lid's bigger and it'll keep it from turning over. So we're gonna hot glue this bottom of this jug. And why does somebody want to call me when they know I'm busy? They just gonna have to wait. I'll call them back later. Hot glue that right there on that cap. And guys, there's a free feeder that if I wasn't doing this on a video would take me about 3 minutes to make. And you ain't gonna buy one that works no better, because I've been using these other ones over here. Matter of fact, I got a little bitty one here. That's made out of some kind of container, something my wife bought from the grocery store. Come in, took a piece of PVC pipe. I think that's heck, that ain't even a piece of pipe. That's a piece of drain, like off the bottom of a sink. I keep old stuff laying around to make stuff. Got a little pop off top for it. And that's the one I actually use when my biddies first hatch out. I put them in my little brooder box. That's what I put in there with them. That way they can't scratch and waste feed. And it's been working well. Now I got one more idea that I want to try. So let me go get it so we can look at it. Now guys, when I walked out there gonna get this next feeder, I looked in my bag of my jugs and cups and stuff I save out there to make stuff like out of here, and I found a whipping cream bowl with the lid. And we just glued this little lid on here, but I'm gonna pull it back off because it ain't as big around as this whipping cream bowl. And that whipping cream bowl lid's got a little lip on it. And now that works better on that feeder because it sticks out further. That way if any food falls out, it'll lay right around that tray in there. But as easy as that hot glue just pulled off, I'm going to use silicone on here. This time. I'm going to set it on there. When that silicone dries, that silicone will hold it. So now you can see it's got a bigger lip around the bottom, so if any food falls out, it'll still be in that little tray right there. In case they do figure out how to try to make a mess. Now my next idea is I got a couple of these rabbit feeders. And I'd purchased some bigger ones because I was having to fill these little ones up too often. And I got 2 of these small ones. And what I like about these is you cut your wire on your cage and you stick this through. If y'all ain't never seen none how this works, and this hangs on the outside of your pen where all you gotta do is open a little door and fill it up. You ain't gotta even open your pen to feed your rabbits or whatever you're feeding. But I tried this on some baby chicks one time, but they just scratch all your feed out. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna try to make me something out of plastic that'll stick right over the top here where they feed, and drill me 2 small holes, or maybe 1 hole. It probably 2 small holes, just big enough for them to get their head in. And see, I'm gonna experiment and see how this one works. When I built my little brooder box, so when my quails hatch, I saved this little piece that I cut out of the top because I put wire over it. And this is flexible and plastic. So we're gonna cut us a piece of this and see if we can mold it around there. This is basically going to be making a snap-on lid. This one here is taking a little more time to do, but I'm thinking it's going to be pretty good, not having to get in the pen to feed them like I do my rabbits. I can just open it up on the outside like the rabbits and fill it up with feed. If this works out, I may have to purchase me a couple of the bigger sizes. And guys, on this one here, I think I'm going to change to a 1-inch hole, because the quail is going to be actually to feed the way it feeds through this. It keeps this bottom full, so they're going to be pecking downwards. If I go to a 1-inch hole, then I can put two holes in the feeder, one toward each side. Now you may be wondering, how is he gonna get that to stay on there? I'm thinking I'm gonna put a little zip tie right through the bottom, come around the front of that hole, and that'll hold them on. What I'm doing there is got that little screen here where your dust falls out and lets the water fall out of any water got in this feeder. I'm taking my knife and cutting just one little piece of that wire, just so that zip tie goes through there. And that's what's gonna hold my lid on. And that's what we look like, guys. So now we're finna go out here and we're gonna hang this baby on the pen and put some feed in it and see how it works. Now, as y'all can see, these are on the back of my rabbit pen. You just cut your wire and it sticks through the bottom piece, and they got them wires made onto the feeder that clamps on over to your wire and just holds that feeder there, and then you can just fill them from the back side here. And these here are bigger ones than the ones we just fixed up for the quail. I bought these because they're bigger. And they'll last about 3 days. About every 3 days I have to fill them back up for these American blue rabbits. Them averages, these rabbits ain't but 5.5 months old. And you see how big they are when they getting up there about 8 pounds right now, but they supposed to get to about 10, 11 pound rabbits. Now guys, I'm going to show y'all why these little feeders is so good that I'm building. This is the feeders like you buy. And you can see I got it sitting inside a Frisbee. But if I didn't, I filled that jar up yesterday evening, and them little 17 baby quails, all the feed's in the dang Frisbee now. They just sit there and rake it out and rake it out. Well, then when it's in something like this to catch it, they sit there and poop in it and stuff. They waste. You can set this one in that Frisbee, and tomorrow I'm gonna come out here and I bet it ain't no feed in that Frisbee. If it is, it's gonna be very little because they can't rake it out of there. That's why these feeders work so good, and I had to make some more. But what I do with this feed here, I don't waste it. I dump it right over in my chicken pen and they eat it right up. So now I'm just gonna set that little feeder in there and that other little feeder I made, and I won't be using this no more. I just had to use it until I got some more made. Now guys, you can see, as small as they are at this point, they can actually get in the feeder. So I'm going to go back and build me one with a smaller hole to put in there for this early age. And then I can use this one when they get a little bit bigger. But you can see right now they getting in there. That went through one side and come out the other, so they'll be pooping in there. So yep, I got to go do the same thing I just did, but with a smaller hole. But at least they can't scratch the feed out. Get the smaller hole though, they won't be able to go in there, period. There's your proof in your pudding how they work. Now this feeder we made that hangs on the outside, I want over here on this cage, because this is my breeder pen cage. I got 1 male and 3 females on that end, and 1 male and 2 females on this end at the time being. But when them other ones over there get grown, I'm gonna rotate some of these out, because you can see these are Conternix tuxedo quail, but one of my males there is solid brown. Well, I swap him out because I want both of my males to be tuxedo colored, which is the white with the brown patch on it. And I don't know if y'all seen my videos last, but that male there, the reason I had to split them up, the males was fighting, and that brown one about killed that one. I've been having to doctor his neck, but it's healing. He just ain't grew no feathers back. But anyway, this is where I want these 2 feeders here, because I got a little overhang on this breeder pen where water can't just come right in on it. And what you do, you just cut. You hold it up there and get between your wire where you need to cut it. And you just cut just what you need for this bottom portion to stick over into. Now a lot of people, and I did on the first time, cut that out, but I don't cut it out. In case I ever need to take this feeder out, I can bend that wire right back up and take me a zip tie and tie it. And then my hole in my pen's patch. So I just bend it over and I leave it bent over. That'll just slide in there. Then you have these little wire deals that you just clip under your wire on your cage. If you don't trust these, all you gotta do is take you another piece of wire or something and go around your box here, which is what I'm planning on doing on this one, because I don't like how this feeder was actually made. Now I can just open my lid and put feed in the feeder. And this is really gonna work out better because I can take this feeder out of the inside now, and that gives them more room in there. Because I got a dusting box in there for them. They like to have some sand to dust in, so I got a little dust pan here I keep sand in. And I got a water jug in there right now, guys, you can see. But I got this hooked up where they got these little watering cups where they peck on these deals here, and they water out of them watering cups, and it's a 5-gallon bucket sitting on top of the cage that has a line runs down, and that PVC pipe runs through all the cages with watering cups on it. But when they was little, I started putting water in there because I didn't know if they'd figured that out yet. And I've just continued to keep water in there because hot as it is, I do not want them to go without any water. But they got plenty enough room now, especially since I took that feeder out. Alright guys, I like this feeder so much because it's clear and I can see the feed in it. I found 2 pieces of PVC pipe. One's a thin wall, one's a thick wall, and apparently that's a 1 1/4 and this is a 1. They'd slide right inside there. That 1 1/4 fit right in that hole. So I'm gonna cut me 2 pieces of this about 5/16 thick. And we're gonna hot glue them right in that hole like I was telling you I done on them other feeders. And that'll reduce the hole down to 1 inch where them little chicks can't go in there. So I'm gonna go around here to my vise and I'm gonna cut these, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, You can use PVC pipe glue or whatever for this, but I'm gonna just glue this smaller ring inside this bigger ring. I'm gonna just put a couple of drops of super glue here, and that'll hold that inside that one. I'm gonna do both of them while I'm doing. I had this super glue already laying out for something, so it ain't as messy as getting the PVC glue out. And now we finna stick that ring right in that hole just like that. And I'm gonna hot glue around it. Alright guys, now we got that fixed. I bet they can't go through that little hole. But guys, I hope you like these ideas. I hope it gives you some ideas. Please leave in the comments if you got some other way, something else that you doing that I think I might like, because I love DIY projects and making my own stuff and better ways. Let me know if you got a better watering system for your quails. Maybe I don't need the cups. Maybe I need the ones where they just peck on. And I seen some of them cups before that they self-fill up, and I think them would work because they'd always have water in them. But anyway, please leave comments and let me know, guys. But thanks for watching. Again, I hope this video helped someone out. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please click subscribe right now. Don't cost you a thing, but it does help me out. I'm trying to grow this YouTube channel. Like and share my videos on your social media so I can get my channel out there, more people to see. But thanks for watching. God bless. Y'all have a great day. See y'all next time.